Happy holidays, folks. We're back for another Pet Shop Boys reaction. And indeed, I didn't do any reactions yesterday, that's why there was no Pet Shop Wednesday, but we're here a day late, though we are taking a diversion to a Christmas song from them. Which is further to say, big shout out to Seb, who has made available a great deal of artists and catalogs and albums, and has shared Pet Shop Boys, including this track called It Doesn't Often Snow at Christmas. Now, Seb mentioned this came out in 2009 on a Christmas EP, and it was the last tune of theirs to chart, I think, in the top 40, which I found interesting. But when I loaded it up on my computer just now, it said new version in the metadata. I was confused by this, so I went to Discogs and I just typed in Pet Shop Boys, It Doesn't Often Snow at Christmas, and apparently they had a single release from 1997 by that name, which had a regular version of the tune and an instrumental version. So now I can only conclude that this 2009 rendition is an updated, maybe amended, or at least remastered version of the 1997 track of the same name. So yes, ultimately, we're all trying to figure out where some of these releases come from, and as far as I can tell, this is a new version or second version of a tune they made about a dozen years earlier. In any case, I'm intrigued by the title because here in Southern California, it does not often snow at Christmas, at least if you live in the area I do. Meaning there are some mountainous areas of California, including some towns that are known for their winter resorts. Big Bear immediately comes to mind, and they do get a lot of snow. But I live in a desert part of Southern California at much lower elevation, and I think it hailed a couple times when I was a kid, but I don't think I've ever been in snow in the part of California I come from. I've been in snow before, but not where I come from. So it didn't often snow at Christmas. But knowing their songwriting, knowing that there's often a cleverness or a twist or a turn to their lyrics and song titles, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some emotional meaning here, or if there's some lament about Christmas and the holidays not being what they are in classic songs for Neil and or Chris. Either way, I'm curious about what sonic stylings we'll have here. Let's give it a listen. This is the new version of It Doesn't Often Snow at Christmas by the Pet Shop Boys, which was released in 2009, though as I said, I think there was an earlier version of this from 1997. it's like so perfectly Pet Shop Boys. It manages to be modern in its sonic stylings, yet with a bit of the traditional. It is critical and sharp, and yet still sincere and sentimental. It has electronic dance stylings, and yet still has some of the instruments and elements that you associate with traditional Christmas music. And I just love the balance of all that. And so to start with the Sonics, I mean, again, it's a dance floor tune. It's got electronic sounds. It's got like a sampled vocal along the way, but it has, traditional kind of church bells. It's got sleigh bells, and I was just talking about this in a Mark Almond holiday song reaction I did in the same batch. But sleigh bells are interesting. Like, they are of course associated with holidays and Santa's sleigh and the sort of classic notion of Christmas, but musically they function essentially like a ride cymbal. They keep the time, they have a metallic sound, and so they don't seem gimmicky to me. Like, you can use them in a dance tune like this and it doesn't feel like you're shoehorning it in. It feels like it's genuinely like keeping the time with a metallic sound, part of a drum kit, and even if it is also recognizable as that classic Christmas sleigh bell sound, I think it actually, it doesn't feel forced. It completely works. And as someone who's sympathetic and partial to the ride cymbal, especially in techno, it totally works for me and fits the overall dance sonics. Secondarily, he is making some critiques here, and right along the line I was thinking in advance. He's saying, the classic notion of Bing Crosby singing about a white Christmas and so on. Well, it's not usually like that. It doesn't often snow at Christmas. It's not how it's supposed to be or what it's supposed to do. And he's also critiquing the commercialism and the idea that Christmas doesn't mean what it's supposed to anymore. It's about how much is this going to cost, and shopping, and making sure that you buy the newest toy, the newest technology. And I certainly sympathize with that. Now, I've talked about this concept in some other holiday reactions, because for me, growing up, seeing the stores dressed up for Christmas and buying things for my family members, whether they were more expensive tickets or more often humble little items that I still hope they enjoy, and as a very little kid, looking in the department store catalog for what video games were coming out and so on, it was exciting. And I get it, that is a material side of Christmas and it can be overdone. And when the commercials are all about make sure you go online and get this sale, and make sure you buy this or you're going to be disappointed at Christmas, it does represent a distortion of the idea of a holiday that celebrates kindness and generosity and viewing other humans as fellow creatures to the grave, as Charles Dickens once said. And it is a reduction of the holiday spirit to the most material and consumeristic aspects of it. But I also do, again, have a sympathy for going to stores and seeing them dressed up and getting something that I think a family member will really like. And I don't hold any guilt for that type of attitude. So again, I totally get what they're saying here, but I do think some people take that line of criticism too far and say that like any commercial aspect of Christmas, is an abomination and it's to be condemned and so on. So I kind of take a middle road with that concept, but I still get what they're saying here. And again, in a time when there's a lack of humanity in the way a lot of people are treated, and when once again the focus in online circles or on TV is to buy this or buy that, or you got to get tickets to this, or it's a very hyper materialistic quantification of the spirit of the holidays. I completely get that criticism. So it's also saying, however, that the narrator is still going to have a ball at Christmas, despite the fact that it's not like the holidays of yore were supposed to be, despite the fact that there isn't a beautiful blanket of white snow outside, despite the fact that it feels a little tacky and taking away from the genuine spirit of generosity and kindness and mercy and compassion and charity when you see price tags everywhere and commercials with slick advertising, marketing, and so on. but he's saying he's still going to have a ball because he's going to be with a person he cares about. He's going to be with a person who means a lot. So whether that's a little kitty like Luca here, or a significant other, or family members, maybe some that you don't always get to spend time with, maybe only at the holidays, maybe you haven't seen them in years, that's a really sincere and admirable sentiment that I found very sweet. And when I think it was Chris at the end says, Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year, it didn't feel tongue-in-cheek or sarcastic. It felt like, hey, we're doing this and this is a Christmas song, so you know what? Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So I think it works on every level. It's so Pet Shop Boys in that it's got a clever sharpness to it. It's got some dance stylings, some traditional stylings, but it still comes across as a sweet Christmas tune. So I absolutely love it. Thank you to Seb for sharing. I think it was Joseph, someone had commented, and that's why Seb ended up sending it over. So to all the people who enjoy what we do here on this channel, who comprise the community that frankly makes this channel what it is. Like, I'm kind of at the center of it. I'm the conductor of the orchestra, but it wouldn't be anything if I'm just sitting here waving a baton. No one else was here. So the fact that you all bring me such enjoyment and knowledge and insight and humor and friendship is not only am I eternally grateful for that, but you folks make this channel what it is, and you make my holidays what they've become the last few years. So I hope you know that. Happy holidays. Let me know what you think of this awesome tune. And Luca, the Christmas cat, and I will see you next time. Peace.